Hey YouTube, Marko with Marko's Garage, coming to you at Dwayne's place with my C50 and installing that carburetor you saw me rebuild here, the Rochester 2-Jet. Turns out the plug on the back, I didn't need to pull vacuum for the brake booster, so I just had to put a plug in it, and I'm going to use the ported vacuum to run the distributor. So anyway, we'll get over to the truck. I did bend up some new fuel line. I want to be able to put a new fuel filter on here, and I got some new line to possibly rebend up and come up to the fuel filter from the fuel pump. So I just got to get back. I got to pulled out a stud there for the carburetor. I'm going to scrape up the gasket surface, and let's get to it. See if we can make this thing run better than it did. Okay, so I got a rag stuffed in here from when I pulled the carburetor off, and I'm just going to use the scraper and scrape away from the holes. Just take off anything that's loose or carbon buildup. Clean up the surface. Now, I don't have compressed air out here, so I can't blow this out, but we'll make that work. Then I'll get the new gasket, carburetor, 4 bolts, or the 2 nuts. I'm going to keep 2 studs. The front 2 studs are rusted out pretty good, so I pulled them off. The bolts in there. Let's get that carburetor on, see what it looks like. There's a few choices of base gaskets. This one has holes and ports, but it's just a void, doesn't need to be filled. So I'm going to go with the solid gasket. I'm going to show you something I do with these gaskets too when I put them down, especially for carburetors. If you ever got to take the carburetor off and you don't wreck the gasket, I'm going to show you what I do. I take typical wheel bearing grease. I take the gasket and I rub a layer of grease on the entire thing. Both sides. I don't cake it in grease. There's a lot on here right now, but I got to spread it out throughout the entire gasket. On both sides covered. I learned this from an old drag racer guy. He said, you grease up the gasket here. It doesn't stick to the metal there. You don't wreck the gasket if you got to pull the carburetor off. And it makes a better seal. I like it because when you own carburetors, sometimes you got to take them off and clean them, especially with today's fuels and stuff, but with proper filtration, it's not too bad. But it's a trick that I learned that I like to do. Take a carburetor we built, set it on. Okay, we got clearance on the all the intake and everything. Get the bolts and bolt that down. Another thing I like to use on bolts is copper coat. I'm going to put these studs on the front and the bolts in the back because you can access the bolts easy. Put this sock in here. This is how I double nut a stud out. I don't know if you can see this on film. Just tighten the two together. And take it out of here. Take the 2 nuts off. Okay. Okay, I'll repeat and do the other side. Down to it. There we go. This is always the first bolt you want to tighten up. This is driver's side front corner. You can move the carburetor on to get clearance for the wrench. Okay. Now I just got to get the choke hooked up and the return spring. fuel line and we can fire this up. Okay, so we got the carburetor in here, return spring, choke, fuel line. Let's hook it up to the battery, we'll see if she fires up.
Yeah, lots of fuel already. You got manual choke on this? Yeah, you might want to get a little choke up.
Yeah, kind of. It won't push.
Oh, we'll push in there?
Oh, that's a lot better than it did.
Boy, does it ever.
Okay, so theirs is running pretty good. Got about half choke, let it warm up. A lot better.
Yeah.
Okay, well there you have it. We got it running a little better. Next step will be doing a couple things and getting a seat in the truck and get it back to town. Do some order and see if it's something I want to use as a pickup truck. And I think it'll be fun and exciting. So if you like, please subscribe and ring that bell so you get notifications, and you have a great day.